Colleagues, the United States has been clear. A diplomatic solution between Israel and Lebanon along the Blue Line is the only path to restore lasting calm and allow residents in both Lebanon and Israel to return safely to their homes. Even as Israel has a right to protect its citizens from Hezbollah, which has fired thousands of missiles and rockets into Israel over the past year alone, it needs to minimize harm to civilians, particularly in the densely populated areas of Beirut. We are deeply concerned by reports of hundreds of Lebanese civilians killed in recent days, including children, medical workers, and an American citizen. And we reiterate our call on all parties to protect civilians and civilian infrastructure and to abide by their obligations under international law. For years, and in the face of so many tragedies, the Lebanese people have generously supported refugees from other neighboring states mired in conflict. Now, many of those who welcomed refugees, and indeed many of those refugees themselves, have had to leave their homes in search of safety in the north and even other countries. And so, it is critical that the international community return that generosity. Late last week, the United States announced $157 million in humanitarian assistance to support the needs of internally displaced persons and refugees inside Lebanon. And we encourage others to do their part as well, to support the UN flash appeal and the people of Lebanon who find themselves in need. The United States also lauds the more than 10,000 peacekeepers from more than 50 countries operating as part of the United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon, or UNIFIL, who are serving in dangerous circumstances to advance the cause of peace. On that note, we are deeply concerned by the reported injuries incurred by UN peacekeepers and are wishing them a speedy recovery. As we work to gather additional information, we have also been clear to all parties, including Israel, that we expect them to respect the safety and security of UNIFIL personnel and premises and avoid incidents that expose them to risk or harm, as well as to liaise with UN authorities to ensure UNIFIL can operate freely and in accordance with its mandate. Colleagues, let's remember how we got here. For far too long, Hezbollah threatened the security of both Israel and Lebanon. With financial and material support from Iran, Hezbollah built up its forces in plain sight, in blatant disregard of resolutions 1559 and 1701, and in direct threat to Lebanese sovereignty and political independence. And then, on October 8, 2023, Hezbollah opened a northern front against Israel in solidarity with Hamas. Not one of our governments would be idle in the face of rockets raining down on our citizens. Not one of our governments would allow terrorists to displace tens of thousands of people indefinitely. Both innocent Israelis and Lebanese have been forced to flee in pursuit of safety, leaving behind all that they've known. Again, we believe diplomacy is the only way to see those people return to their homes. And for the diplomatic resolution to be durable, the parties must fully implement Resolution 1701. That requires Hezbollah to withdraw from the border area and the Lebanese armed forces in UNIFIL to the south. And it requires enforcing the arms embargo and taking steps to help ensure that Iran does not resupply what remains of its terrorist proxy. It also requires that Lebanon's political leaders set aside their differences and assemble a government that responds to the needs of the Lebanese people, including their desire for independence from foreign interference. In other words, the solution to this crisis is not a weaker Lebanon. It's a strong and truly sovereign Lebanon, protected by a legitimate security force, embodied in the Lebanese armed forces. And so, the international community must focus its efforts accordingly, helping strengthen Lebanese state institutions so that they can exercise effective control over Lebanon's territory. Key to that is condemning Iran for undermining Lebanon's sovereignty. And key to that is condemning Hezbollah for attacking Israel and once again putting its narrow interests ahead of the interests of the people of Lebanon, start this war, but will bear the brunt of any extended conflict. Colleagues, as discussed last week, we must be prepared to impose severe costs on Iran for flouting this Council's resolutions and for supporting Hezbollah, which threatens peace and security. For our part, the United States will continue to work with our partners in the region and around the world to advance a diplomatic solution, one that provides real security to Israel and Lebanon and allows civilians on both sides of the blue line to return to their homes. Thank you, Madam President.
Je remercie le représentant des États.